Hello. Hello. Creature. Creature. Okay, hello. Hello. Alright, you guys, Job part 5, and it will be the last part of Job. This may go on just a little bit, but remember, I always think it's going to be extra long just by the way that it's written, but it might not take that long to get through. Nonetheless, we were talking about the importance of the human mind and the actual physical work that it does take to maintain the human mind because of our thoughts and how they are free range and how we can think or dream or imagine anything that our hearts desire. So Jesus was actually discussing the physical work and the tools that it takes to train the mind. So we're going to hold on to that little bit here because we have quite a futile statement in and the life of a man less than a span. And this is by Francis Bacon, 1561, 1626. From the world, of the world. The world's a bubble, and the life of man is less than a span. So with this, we think about the futility of life. It kind of has this feeling that we're unimportant, but we're going to actually think of this in a different manner, okay? We're thinking because our life is so short, we have so little time to say and do and be perhaps who we want to be or what we want to do. We have so little time. We should look at that as an important thing, as a beautiful thing, as an observable thing. Like we can know and we can realize through our minds that we are being observed, like almost as if we were in a little bubble, right? And then also looking at, because our life is so short, wouldn't that put extra emphasis and extra importance on what we say and do and think? So we'll look at it from that perspective. But there are a few different points, especially when God starts talking, that might make us seem a little bit unimportant, right? A little unimportant, a little bit deprioritized. I guess that's a good word, deprioritized. But that's not how we are to think at all, because we do have this concept, right, of the human mind, and what makes us unique is our human mind, and how much it is certainly looked after and I don't want to use the word manipulated because that's not necessarily the case, but how much we as humans are cared for and looked after and valued. That is really what Job wants to hear, that he is valued, and that's what a lot of people's goals at least try to relate to, is that they have value in the world and that they are important. It's a very significant factor in our well-being and our happiness. But instead, again, of thinking of our life as futile and nothing matters, we have to think of fruitfulness. Our life is fruitfulness, and it is fruitful. And thinking about, what are the fruits, right? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. We have 9 different fruits of the Spirit. And Job had a lot of this happiness and joy, and probably a lot of peace when he had his family and everything like that. But that needed to be taken away from him so he could probably practice or emphasize on these other fruits, right? Gentleness, patience, very important. Self-control, right? It took Job everything not to just, give up. So it took a lot of self-control for him to stay sturdy and, yes, stay in communication with his people and his friends, letting them know how he was feeling, even if they weren't as receptive to it. But we are going to go ahead and continue on here and wrap up this book of Job. Deep breath. Okay. Starting out here in chapter 29, Job continued his discourse. When I went to the gate of the city, and I took my seat in the public square, the young men saw me and stepped aside. The old men rose to their feet. I was a father to the needy. I took up the case of a stranger, and I broke the fangs of the wicked, and snatched the victims from their teeth. But now they mock me, men younger than I, whose fathers I would have disdained to put with my sheepdogs. They brayed among the bushes and huddled in the undergrowth. And now my life ebbs away. Days of suffering grip me. Night pierces my bones. My gnawing pains never rest. The churning inside me never stops. Days of suffering confront me. If my steps have turned from the path, if my heart has been led by my eyes, or if my hands have been defiled, then may others eat what I have sown, and may my crops be uprooted. If I have kept bread to myself, not sharing it with the fatherless, then let my arm fall from the shoulder, let it be broken off at the joint. If I have regarded the sun in its radiance, or the moon moving in splendor, so that my heart was secretly enticed, and my hand offered them a kiss of homage, then these would be sins to be judged, for I would have been unfaithful to God on high. I would give him an account of my every step. I would present it to him as to a ruler. Pause. I don't have much to say because this is pretty much what he's been saying this whole time, right? He's saying, I didn't deserve this. I am a good person. I at least was a good person, but now my pain is overtaking me. I seek no understanding, or maybe I am seeking understanding, but I don't understand why this is happening to me. And for that, we are in understanding, and we understand the situation because, of course, we read about it. But we understand Job's pain as well, because there really was no reason. It didn't say that he did anything wrong to deserve this pain. But these men, right, these three friends, stopped answering Job because he was so righteous in his own eyes. But Elihu, son of Barachel, the Buzite of the family of Ram, became very angry with Job for justifying himself rather than God. So as we mentioned, don't we understand? We understand where Job is coming from. His friends don't understand. They don't know what goes on in the secret heart of Job, so they're imagining the worst. They're imagining that he's secretly an evil person, and he's secretly plotting, and that's why God had destroyed him and took everything away. But this Elihu figure, he speaks a lot of truth. He's a young man, and he's saying at this time, it's not all about you. As much as you want it to be all about you, and as much as you may understand that your punishment is personal, it doesn't always have to be because of you, or it doesn't always have to be your fault or because of you. So Elihu is saying, stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about God. And let's figure out what he's saying here. So Elihu, son of Barachel the Buzite, said, I thought age should not speak. Advanced years should teach wisdom. I too, hey Kong, being a little noisy. I too will have my say. I too will tell you what I know. No fear of me should alarm you. Oh my goodness. Come here. I too will have my say. I too will tell you what I know. No fear of me should alarm you, nor should my hand be heavy on you. For God does speak, now one way, now another, though no one perceives it. He may speak in their ears and terrify them with warnings, to turn them from wrongdoing and to keep people from pride. Then that person can pray to God and find favor with him. Then they see God's face and shout for joy. He will restore them to full well-being. And they will go on to others and say, I have sinned, I have perverted what is right, but I did not get what I deserved. Is there anyone like Job who drinks scorn like water? It is unthinkable that God would do wrong, that the Almighty would pervert justice. Can someone who hates justice govern? Will you condemn the just and mighty one? His eyes are on the ways of mortals. He sees their every step. God has no need to examine... God has no need to examine people further, that they should come before him for judgment. He punishes them for their wickedness, where everyone can see them, because they turned from following him and had no regard for any of his ways. Oh, that Job might be tested to the utmost for answering like a wicked man. To his sin he adds rebellion. Scornfully he claps his hands among us and multiplies his words against God. If you sin, how does that affect him? If your sins are many, what does that do to him? If you are righteous, what do you give him? Or what does he receive from your hand? God is mighty, but despises no one. He is mighty and firm in his purpose. He does not take his eyes off the righteous. He enthrones them with kings and exalts them forever. He is wooing you from the jaws of distress to a spacious place free from restriction, to the comfort of your table laden with choice food. But now you are laden with the judgment due the wicked. Justice and judgment have taken a hold of you. How great is God beyond our understanding, the number of his years past finding out. Sorry, I had to move. I had a very noisy creature over there. Okay, is this understandable, right? We're reading this, we're understanding what he's saying. Elihu, again, he's not wrong, but he is still upset with Job for handling this in a less masculine way. Okay, honestly, I think if anyone were to go through this, they would be acting like Job. It's hard to imagine somebody handling this in an upright and confident way when you're experiencing extreme loss and extreme hardship. I think anybody would have these questions and, have self-loathing and, become weakened. But these friends, and including Elihu, they're saying, you shouldn't be acting like this, but it's impossible for them to make that judgment without really feeling Job's pain and really understanding who Job is as a person. Because the only one who's going to really understand Job is Job himself, and of course the Lord God. But again, they're trying to be uplifting in a way. They're trying to build up his confidence and have him see things from their perspective. But again, it's a very challenging thing to do when times are hard. Hey, Kong, he's just attacking the blinds like nobody's business. Let me put him outside because that's what he needs to be doing. Come here. Do you want to go outside? He's so noisy for no reason. Come on. We'll play. A little bit peace and quiet. He's actually, Elihu is condemning Job, much like his friends did as well. With the judgment due the wicked. He's saying, now you are laden with the judgment due the wicked, and justice and judgment have taken a hold of you. So interesting perspective towards the man who was suffering. But let's continue here. Elihu continues. He draws up the drops of water, which distill as rain to the streams. He says to the snow, fall on earth, and to the rain shower, be a mighty downpour, so that everyone he has made may know his work. He stops all the people from their labor. You who swelter in your clothes, when the land lies hushed under the south wind. Then the Lord spoke to Job out of the storm. Alright, so of course we're jumping around, but Elihu does take the focus back to God, and really going also along with what the other friends were saying. is there are so many mysteries that God has reign over and has control over and commands and demands, okay? So there are no places really for error, and everything has a purpose, and everything is not an accident, or has a, what do we say it? Nothing is a coincidence, right? Nothing is a coincidence. So he's putting the focus back on God. Eventually, Job replies, and he says some very short final words, and then the Lord comes to speak to Job out of the storm. So this is a big moment, and now we hear things from God's perspective, kind of almost piggybacking off of these last words of Job. We're going to take a very natural viewpoint. Imagine National Geographic, okay, but coming from God's mouth. This is exactly what I was picturing as the Lord was discussing this. He speaks to Job out of the storm, and he said, "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand. While the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy. Have you journeyed to the springs of the sea, or walked the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been shown to you? Have you seen the gates of deepest darkness? Who cuts a channel for the torrents of rain, and a path for the thunderstorm, to satisfy a desolate wasteland, and to make you sprout with grass? Who has the wisdom to count the clouds? Who can tip over the water jars of the heavens? Who let the wild donkey go free? Who untied its ropes? It laughs at the commotion in the town. It does not hear a driver's shout. The wings of the ostrich flap joyfully, though they cannot compare with the wings of the stork. She lays her eggs on the ground and lets them warm in the sand, unmindful that a foot may crush them, that some wild animal may trample them. For God did not endow her with wisdom or give her a share of good sense. Does the eagle soar at your command and build its nests on high? Brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you shall answer me. Look at Behemoth, which I made along with you, and which feeds on grass like an ox. Its tail sways like a cedar. The sinews of its thighs are close knit. Can you pull Leviathan with a fishhook, or tie down its tongue with a rope? Can you fill its hide with harpoons, or its head with fishing spears? Its back has rows of shields tightly sealed together. They are joined fast to one another. They cling together and cannot be parted. Iron treats it like a straw, and bronze like rotten wood. After the Lord had said these things to Job, he said to Eliphaz the Temanite, I am angry with you and your two friends, because you have not spoken the truth about me, as my servant Job has. Pause, okay? If you read through chapter 4, I guess all the way starting chapter 37, 38, where God begins to speak, okay, it's 2-3 good chapters of just him going through in a very natural, geographic type of way, okay? He's explaining the nature of the earth and these minute, seemingly minute details that we do not pay attention to as human beings. There are so many things that he could be responsible for, that he is responsible for. And again, we're going back to that futility, that sense of futility that, we are deprioritized and that we don't really matter. But it's not the case at all. He's explaining, because I take care of all of these things, why would I not take care of you? And why would I not have a plan for you? And why would I not cause you to be comfortable for the rest of your life, essentially? Because he gives Job a gift after this. And again, the importance of the human beings, okay? We have this mind that can really sway much of what we experience and what we feel. And because we are so unique with our minds and our rational thinking capabilities, yes, animals have various ways of thinking and things like that. But there really is nothing compared to human consciousness in the sense of we have full awareness, okay, of God. We have full awareness and capability to think very, very deeply and very, very strategically. So with that, God has his hand very close to us, but it's not on us completely, okay? He's not moving us around like a puppet. Anyways, all right, we are very, very cared for, and God's like, I care and worry about all these other things down to their personalities, down to worrying about these ostrich eggs that may get trampled on by another animal, right? I take care, I observe, and I really do control, okay, all of the natural events that take place here on the earth. How would I not take care of you effectively? All right, so he comes to Job, and Job basically, after hearing this, he's like, I am nothing. He's like, I am nothing. Forgive me, right? He's just like, I want to just put dust on my head and, just take me away, Lord. He is just utterly exhausted, even after hearing the Lord speak. God really does speak the truth, but it was something that Job did not necessarily want. He did not want to be frightened by the Lord. But he was frightened, right? He wanted a big, great hug and some nurturing, okay? But he got straight, I would say hard love. What is it called? Tough love. He got some good, tough love as a man, like he should be, okay? Anyways, we are going on here. And Job actually ends up praying for his friends because they went through some sort of a punishment. And they had to end up offering sacrifices for the way that they were speaking. Again, not completely wrong in what they said, but Job was being very raw and real and letting his heart out, okay? And they were trying to manipulate that a little bit and kind of attacking him where he was weak. So they ended up having to do some sacrifices. God did not punish them so severely, but they had to atone for the way that they were trying to manipulate Job, I guess you could say. So after Job prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before. The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former part. He had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 10,000 donkeys. And he also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. After this, Job lived 140 years. He saw his children and their children to the 4th generation. And so Job died an old man full of years. So not to worry, ladies and gentlemen, although there may be bumps in the road, although there may be very terrible pitfalls that we experience, do not lose hope and do not lose faith. And don't be afraid to cry out to God and let your emotions out once in a while. It's certainly a good thing, especially if you do have the support of good people around you. So I'll leave you with this, again, showing kind of the timeline of when this book of Job was written, or really when it takes place. As we can see, he lives to 140 years. So again, those lengthened lifespans that took place kind of like early Abraham's era. We read about Elihu, right, who is in close relation to son of Ram, and a few generations down. And I do believe Abraham also came from the son of Ram. So thinking about that time frame, just for the history lesson there. But thanks for listening. It was a little bit long, but I did happen to run straight through it. Lots of things to think about, and we are going into something even more beautiful after this. Bye-bye.